Hey the internet, this is Lock. This week I've been playing a game that isn't an MMO, but it is an RPG, so 50-50, we're halfway there, meet me halfway, we'll be alright. It's a game called Keen. It's a game that makes me all nostalgic and misty-eyed from the games of my teen years. As I was growing up through my adolescence, games like Planescape Torment, Baldur's Gate, but it still feels fresh, feels current. It's a game that feels approachable in this my now adult life in my final form. It's enough to make me want to love it. But I wonder if it will hold up under the sheer weight of my expectations. Keen is not a game that demands you commit to it body and soul, that proudly proclaims it'll suck hundreds of hours of your life away. Now, as I often lament, the part of my life in which I could spend all night playing is over, and while I'm thrilled at the existence of new games that carry on this tradition of leading sensitive and intelligent young people to ruin, it feels great to get my fix without beating myself up about how long I spend exploring or reading an in-game library. Much of this is probably down to the reduced scope of the game. Apparently the bulk of the work was done by just 2 people, which is really incredible playing it. And I think there's just 2 people. That's got to be the primary reason for the reduced scope. But I'm sure that the issue was carefully considered, how that scope could be best utilized, managed, as the whole game really is a testament to the incredibly smart and very careful way every part has been constructed. You can feel the love. You can really feel the love and the passion for this game in all the little details, the way the world's put together. And I think that, if anything, this is what makes Keen stand out as a smaller indie RPG. I'm a big design nerd, so I try and look for the invisible decisions that exist in games. Nothing in a game happens without someone specifically telling it to, and I think the best games help you forget that is how it is. They help you forget and not be able to see where those decisions are. And the designers want you to take things for granted. That's how we get into that sort of immersed flow state. And one thing that I really appreciated in Keen was the way that the environment, while it is almost separated into corridor-like structures, it's not a completely open world, even though the zones are very large. The way that the environments are layered allows foreshadowing in a lot of cases. It allows callbacks to previous areas that you've been, and it's a really great way to make the areas feel very layered, very connected, like you're part of a larger world. And it provides encouragement to the player, it provides information to the player. Dark Souls does this well, because Dark Souls does almost everything it does well. But the best example I can think of is Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. Some of you may be familiar with. If you're not, get it. It's brilliant. And it's a game that, for my money, really has the best environment design going. And while Keen doesn't have the strong visual styles of those games, it doesn't reach the dizzying heights of creativity that Brothers does, especially. I think that when a game reminds me of classic games like those, you really know that you're doing something right. You're onto a winner. The puzzles in this game follow this trend as well. The way they're integrated into the world feels very handcrafted. They're an integral part of the environment in themselves. There's a physical presence to them. There's a weight to them. A lot of them involve the use of physics. Water moves from place to place in real time, and they're also very creative. They offer a much wider variety of challenges than I was honestly expecting from such a small team. I don't want to spoil too much, but after an early kind of Zelda-style stand on the platforms, puzzle slash tutorial-ish, get you used to it one, I was expecting more of the same. I was expecting variations on that theme, and I was very pleasantly surprised when after the gentle introduction one, the second one that built on the idea and added an extra layer, you know, the puzzles immediately moved on to completely different things, and in directions I really wasn't expecting, using mechanics that I had no idea were even a part of the game, but there they were. They just popped up in these puzzles, and I haven't encountered any sort of Legend of Grimrock style extreme difficulty, but they certainly make you think. Everything that you need to know is there in front of you, and some are really dangerous as well. You know, they'll take a good few stabs at. And I think on the whole, the difficulty curve in general feels good. It just feels really nice as you go through. The game avoids holding your hand too much in the early stages. It doesn't artificially lock off or gate too much from you, but it's still, at the same time, it does a good job of introducing ideas gently. You know, it shows you that there is a path while still respecting your intelligence enough to allow you to work things out on your own. And this philosophy, I think, is really mirrored in the combat style. The combat in the game is real time, but you do have the option to enter a sort of Max Payne bullet time style mode. You can use it to set up attacks to move. It's really, really useful as your party starts growing in size, to be able to line up attacks, to drop crowd control, to land skill shots, which I missed more than I'd like to admit. And you know, there's clutch heals as well. Some of those mobs do some seriously bursty damage, and you know, when you encounter mobs that may surprise you in that way, you know, you might save early, save often. You might reach a point where, you know, you feel like you don't have the tools that you need to be able to pass an encounter. But the way that the build system is, it's set up so you can change builds for free. Immediately. That gives you access to everything you might have. Every character you can just completely strip back to basics, give them completely new stats. You can give them completely different equipment as long as they have the stats to support it, which obviously, you know, you can change their stats at any time, so you don't have to worry about it. So tweaking your party to fit an encounter, or you could completely change the makeup of your whole party, just completely wholesale on a whim. Like, you just fancy it. You just fancy a different kind of party makeup, especially as you build up your arsenal of gear, I suppose. There's a lot of depth actually in the build system, and a lot of potential synergy with the different possible builds as well. So it makes me wonder if there is a plan to add a sort of Diablo style procedural maps to really let this system shine, because as it stands, the game doesn't offer much in the way of replayability. There were a couple of times where I got to an encounter and I felt like I cheesed it somewhat, or I didn't really understand what it was going on, but I managed to brute force my way through it. And while I obviously really appreciate a well crafted, like, enclosed experience, I do think this is an area that could add huge value to the game because of what already exists within it. And to be honest, there isn't a huge amount to criticize, I don't think, that doesn't fall under small studio things. You know, there could have been more polished. Like, sometimes the pathing up narrow staircases is a little bit weird, things like that. But yeah, there's a lot of nitpicks, I suppose, but nothing huge that I can point at and go, this isn't very good. But part of me, you've always got to think that if that's the case, maybe that in itself is a weakness. I think that while the game is beautifully crafted and with great care, it makes the most of everything that it has. There's nothing that makes the game stand out against other nostalgia RPG properties like Pillars of Eternity, Divinity Original Sin, Wasteland 2. You know, there's a lot of them about, and a lot of them that have a much larger scale than this one. And I think I just would have liked to have seen just a little bit more reach, a little bit more. I don't want to say creativity, because it is hugely creative. It's just very workmanlike. It's very serviceable. So I think I'd have to say overall, it's very good. It's just it's very good. It's just workmanlike in approach. The scope is limited, but it does use what it has very well. I think the game has huge room to grow beyond what it is now, because it's such a solid foundation. And you know, in these days of DLC and all of that, we could see more from it. And I'm sure the people that made it have got a lot left in the tank. So I think I want to love it, but if I'm honest with myself, I just like it. So take that as you will. So there it is. Keen. Let us know what you think. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Does it make you nostalgic for any particular game? Let us know in the comments below. And give this video a like, just because it's a nice thing to do. Doesn't cost you anything, just one click. And subscribe for many wonderful things from fabulous people. And I will see you again really soon. Thanks. Bye.
Make sure to level up your MMO knowledge by visiting MMORPG.com, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and by following us on social media. To catch up on the week's biggest MMO news, watch our latest MMO FTW. And to see if there's a better MMO out there for you, watch one of our latest First Impressions videos. Thanks for watching.